You guys ready to roll?
Yes!
Where are we going?
On an Epic American road trip.
You excited, Beanie? I am so excited to talk to you about our epic American road trip. So, here's the deal. The kid's great-grandpa, Shelby's grandpa, old Papa, he turned 90 this year. So, we wanted to go and visit him because not every year, you don't really always have a relative that turns 90. So, we thought about different ways that we could do it, and we decided on an epic American road trip. First, we thought as far as cost goes, it'd be a little bit cheaper, and we wanted to see stuff. We wanted to explore more of America that we haven't seen. So, this trip is divided up into 4 parts. Part 1 is getting to San Diego, so from Cleveland to San Diego. We went on Route 66 for a lot of it, seeing a lot of really cool stuff along the way. So that's part 1. Part 2 is our San Diego time, where we got to spend some time with old Papa and do some other fun stuff along the way in San Diego. Part 3 is our national parks phase. We saw 2 different amazing national parks that we'll talk a little bit more about. And part 4 is our trip back home and some of the cool stuff that we saw on our way back home. So let's get into this. We're going to break this down day by day, part by part. Day 1, here we go. Also, I lost the original footage that I have of this, so I am trying to fill time. So this is me talking nonsense until I've hit my time limit, and I want to make sure that I get that so that it doesn't jack up the rest of my stuff. So I don't know. This should be long enough. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk for a couple more minutes with random non sequiturs. Route 66 is fun. We had a great time. I guess I don't want to spoil anything, so you'll just have to keep watching. This isn't that long. It's about an hour 15. But it is a lot of fun, and this video isn't sponsored by anyone. So day 1. Day 1 started in Cleveland, obviously, and we ended up in Springfield, Missouri. So it was our longest length of travel in part 1. We drove about 12 hours that day, and that was intentional because we wanted to get as close to Route 66 as we possibly could. And we ended up leaving at 5 o'clock in the morning, getting up and out of here. Our first stop was in Columbus. We stopped for breakfast a little bit around 7 o'clock or something like that. McDonald's breakfast is a Willard tradition on a road trip like this, so the kids loved it. We always could go for some good McDonald's breakfast, and then we kind of just kept going. The only stop that we made on day 1 was Merrimack Caverns. Now, there was other things that we kind of were just like, these are good rest stops, or we're kind of feeling like we want to go here. Merrimack Caverns is right along Route 66. They have a cave, and it's about a hour tour of the cave, seeing some of the different rooms, some of the awesome sights of the cave, like the biggest stalactite and stalagmite you'll ever see. And then it ends in this really cool light show where they project onto like a wall of the cave. And it was just really cool. We haven't been in a cave since, I don't know, probably like 2017, 16, something like that. It was definitely not as good as it was now. But this is, when we did that before, that was a more spelunking expedition. This was a guided tour. But we had a good time. The kids loved it. And then from Merrimack Caverns, it was about 2 hours or so until we hit our hotel room. So we hit the sack pretty late that day. It was something like 9:30, 10 o'clock. But we made it. Day 1 complete. All right, first stop on Route 66. Cars on the route.
Over here, when I take a picture.
Day number 2. Day 2, we started in Springfield, Missouri, and our goal was Amarillo, Texas. Just for context purposes, on the way down, we booked all of our hotel rooms in advance. I still don't fully know if that was the right move or what, but it did end up working out pretty well because whenever we felt like, oh man, I don't know if we can keep going, we had to kind of push ourselves so that we can see what we wanted to see. So on the first day, we started in Cleveland, Ohio, go through Indiana, Illinois, Missouri. From here, we had to go through Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and then Texas. And Texas was Amarillo, Texas specifically was where we were stopping. So this was our first real Route 66 day. I know we had hit something on Route 66 the day before, but this is when we actually got to drive on historic Route 66. We crossed into Kansas, and the first stop we stopped in was Cars on the Run, which is in, I believe it's Galena, Kansas. Don't quote me on that. It's actually where they found the inspiration for the movie Cars. Along Route 66, there's this cool little car shop, and there was this old tow truck that was actually the tow truck that inspired the character of Mater in Cars. So they have a couple of car things. It's a little bit of a museum. The people there were really friendly to us and showed us all of like the proof that it was there. Pictures from when people from Pixar came to actually see the town and all that. And I'm not gonna lie, it really felt like Cars. You know that scene when they get a traveler coming down and it's like the minivan, like the husband and wife. It was totally giving that scene, the way that they were friendly and very exciting, but it was awesome. So we went from there, and there was this place called the 3-Point State where Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma all come together. So they have like a little pillar, and you can do, like I've seen people do it on the Four Corner States, where you can go on each side and be like in different states at the same time. So we sent our kids to another state at a different time that we were in. So that's fun. And that was really just like a stop point. But then as we're driving back, we end up seeing some bison, which that was really cool. We went up to this fence because we didn't really see the reading. We didn't really see the sign. And then the sign said, stay away from the fence because bison can be dangerous. So we stepped back. We did take a picture. So there you go. So then we get into Oklahoma. And in Oklahoma, we had 2 bigger stops. First was this blue whale. It's one of the more like oddities, I guess is the right word, of Route 66, where it's just like kind of a weird, fun statue. But it's this blue whale that's like off of this creek here. And it was cool to kind of walk through it. There really isn't much in it. There's like a small gift shop off to the side. There are people feeding turtles bread or something like that. But it was just a fun little offshoot stop, because while most people that do just Route 66 will go and take the historic Route 66 all the way, we did not do that. We got on the interstate and kind of weaved in and out whenever we saw something that we wanted to see. So Blue Whale was fun, but it was just more of like a glorified rest stop for us. And I believe we also ate lunch there. But our next stop. All right, guys, where are we at? What is this place?
Pops.
Pops? Why is it called Pops?
It's a soda. Pops.
Yeah, look. Look at that big thing.
So tall.
And also,
Oh
yeah. A little bit further down was this place called Pops. Pops is a cool little soda shop. They have like the specialty sodas and everything like that. And it also has a small diner. We didn't eat in the diner. We weren't that prepared to eat in the diner, but it was really cool just to kind of see it. And we all bought sodas. There we rested for probably about an hour or so. The kids went in the back of it and were having some fun and kind of getting some energy out, because from there, our next big stop wasn't until we hit Amarillo, Texas. And if you know anything about Route 66 and Amarillo, Texas, you know that that is the home of the Cadillac Ranch. So it took us a while to get there. We're getting there right as the kids are getting tired. We're getting hungry, but we make it there. Isaac, where are we at?
Cadillac Ranch.
What is this?
I want to tell you something.
What?
I'm the camera.
Tell me. You're on camera.
I was so fast I almost break it there.
Yeah.
I did.
You're so fast. The kids got to spray paint Cadillacs. If you don't know what Cadillac Ranch is, it's a bunch of abandoned Cadillacs that were buried in this field, and it's known for people taking spray paint and graffitiing all over it. Isaac working spray paint was hilarious to watch. Also kind of, I don't want to say dangerous, but you don't want to go in the area that he's starting to spray. Sometimes he would have it like every which way. So, but we were able to help him. He got paint all over him. He had a great time. We had a good time as well. All right, look. Tell me how it went.
Funny and fast.
Okay.
But it was good.
It was good?
Fun.
Would you do it again?
Yeah.
All right, run to mom. And then we headed back to our hotel room, which was in Amarillo, Texas. We ended up getting Olive Garden, which was fun. And yeah, that brings us to the end of day number 2. Day number 3, from Amarillo, Texas to Holbrook, Arizona. So this one was a little bit different because it wasn't a hotel room. It was actually an Airbnb. More on that later. But we finished our driving through Texas really for the entire trip. But we then crossed into New Mexico, which, by the way, New Mexico, an absolutely beautiful place to drive through. But it didn't take us that long to get to our first stop. All right, we are in New Mexico, guys. We're at TP Curious in Tucumari, right? Bina, you want to say hi? A little wild one there. So we stopped at a place in New Mexico called TP Curios, which was kind of like a small little gift shop, one of the kind of hole-in-the-wall type of gift shops on Route 66. We weren't allowed to actually film in there, so I did not take any pictures of it, but you have some from the outside. And then right down the street was this very good donut shop. Now, first, it was really weird going in. We couldn't figure out that it was just drive-through only. And then when we get up there, there was this very happy Filipino man who then gave us the donuts. And can I just say, it's got to be a top 5 donut that I've ever had. It was so good. Absolutely amazing. I got an apple fritter and, of course, a pink one with sprinkles because I'm still a child at heart. But it was great. We had an awesome time. So then our next stop was the Blue Hole. In New Mexico on Route 66 is this place called the Blue Hole. It's a weird, like, swimming hole, but it's very, very blue. And so we get there, and things looked kind of odd. So we're trying to figure out like how to get in, where to go, and sure enough, we find out that it's actually closed. and it really stunk because we were looking forward to it. It was kind of the centerpiece of the day. Isaac couldn't get over it. He kept saying, "I love blue. I love blue." Well, the blue hole was closed. Apparently one of the columns collapsed on, I don't know. You see the clip in there, so whatever. So we got burritos, and the kids are gonna get Happy Meals where, Beanie? Where are we at? McDonald's. So, oh well. So after the blue hole debacle, we kept going. We crossed into Arizona. In Arizona, right over the border, is this place called the Yellow Horse Trading Post. Because in that part of Arizona, it's also Navajo country. So it's a place where you see some Native American art and artwork, and you can buy whatever they have. So we looked at it. Honestly, there wasn't a great selection. I think part of it was we went on a Monday, and some of the stores were closed on Mondays. And also we got there kind of late. So I think that both of those had a factor in it. So after that, we're just like, we need to get to our next spot. And our final spot for the night, Holbrook, Arizona. Holbrook has this place called, actually I don't know what it's called. They have teepees there. In Cars, the Cozy Cone Motel, it's actually inspired by this place. So you can sleep in a teepee. It's like a small little hotel room. We tried to book the hotel room, and it was fully booked when we got there, or when we decided to pull the trigger on it. So we were able to rent an Airbnb that was on the property. That was actually an apartment overlooking it. So yeah, we're on the second floor. I'm not going to show the inside of the apartment because it's actually someone's apartment. So it is on Airbnb if you want to check it out. But there you go. That's where we stayed for the night. That's where we kind of parked it for a little bit. It was the apartment itself was kind of mid, but it was really cool to kind of see the teepees and kind of be in there. We had to park next to one, so we kind of say that we were in one. But yeah, so that wraps up day number 3. All right, day number 3 here from the wigwams. Today's our Arizona day. We switched we switched time zones twice yesterday, so the kids woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But we're gonna do Petrified National Forest, Sedona, a couple other things. So yeah, we're gonna start with some breakfast burritos. There's a good spot, about a mile away. So yeah, here we go. Another look at the wigwams here. It's really cool. Yeah. So yeah, here we go. So day number 4. Day 4 was a full Arizona day. We started the day in the teepees, and we went from Holbrook, Arizona, in the northeastern end of Arizona, to the southwest end in Yuma. So it was a really action-packed day, but let me just tell you how this day started, because it was really cool. So what are we doing, son? Having a picnic right here in kind of a little park center.
Of Navajo County.
Yeah, it's the courthouse of Navajo County, so that's fun. I don't know if I should be filming or not, but I'm doing it anyway. So, because we were at an Airbnb, all of our other stops we had hotels, so continental breakfast was kind of easy to figure out. Here, we had to look up breakfast. So as we were planning this trip, I just looked up, hey, we're in Arizona, might as well look up a breakfast burrito. This place is called Alberto's. And with all due respect to Roberto's and every other place we went to in California, it might have been the best breakfast burrito that we had. It was so good that it'll come up again. stay tuned for that. So we decided, we got our breakfast burritos. There was this cool little park in Holbrook that we stopped at. I think it's like the entrance, like the county hall or something like that. But we had our breakfast there. We also had seen these cool dinosaur statues. Isaac had wanted to see some type of dinosaurs when we were talking Route 66, so we took some pics there. Beanie, what do we see here? Dinosaurs? Yeah? Isaac, where are we at?
National Park.
Petrified Forest?
Yeah.
Are you excited? What do you want to see?
Dinosaurs.
Okay. We headed off to Petrified National Forest. Petrified wood. Now there's a whole science behind it. Basically, back when this part of Arizona was more foresty, things fell down, get washed away in the river, and like the sediment, because of the heat or something like that, the sediment takes the place of some of the structures in the tree. Therefore, trees kind of become more like stone. Petrified wood. There's more behind it, and if you want to go, like, there's a billion videos, I'm sure, about it. It was so cool to see. Petrified National Forest is the first of the 3 that we went to on this trip, as far as national parks go. And basically, you kind of drive through the whole thing. This is our first stop. It's part of the Painted Desert. Looks wild. There are about, like, I think 11 or so different stops where some are just scenic overlooks, such as these here. We saw the Painted Desert, which is part of the Petrified National Forest. It was absolutely breathtaking. And it was like the first really, really cool nature thing that we saw on this trip. And it just really got us inspired to see more, because not only is this amazing part of God's creation, but also it's right here in the US. And it just was absolutely amazing to see. We also saw a couple of cool places. They had a structure that was made out of petrified wood. They had a small ice cream shop in it, so that was really cool to see. The kids obviously got ice cream, so. But there was a lot of other cool stops along the way. And some had trails, some were just scenic overlooks, but honestly, the views were amazing. Well, I'll do a ranking at the end of this video, but it might have been our favorite national park. I'm not really too sure. But on another note, we are in Arizona in the desert in July. So it started to get really, really, really hot. Like, we were seeing like 95 plus. So we had gone early in the day. It hit about noon, so we had decided to start rolling out. And the way that where everything landed, we had to pass through Holbrook again. So for lunch, we were trying to figure out, what are we doing for lunch? The kids had some stuff, and we were like, let's get burritos again from Alberto's. So we literally went for lunch at the same place that we went for breakfast. Once again, absolutely great. So as we keep driving down, it's about an hour or so further down, we saw Isaac's favorite spot throughout the trip. Here we are at the giant meteor crater. Are you excited, Beanie? Are you excited?
Yeah!
What does a meteor do?
Make a hole.
Okay. Does it give you superpowers? Alright. A long time ago, I don't remember how long, a meteor hit this part of Arizona and left this giant crater. Not like the meteor that destroyed the dinosaurs, but it's really massive. So it's right along, I believe technically it's also weaving with Route 66 on 40 there, but they have this whole museum for it we did this cool little interactive thing with this jackalope. I don't remember her name, but Isaac loved doing that. And then you can see it. They have like more guided tours. The guided tours are a lot of money, and we didn't have the time to do it. So we just kind of saw it from a distance, but still we got up pretty close. And yeah, it was spectacular. And it definitely was Isaac's favorite thing to watch. Like if you even ask him today, that's the thing that he'll go to. So. All right. What are you telling our family?
Family, so come here. I saw a really big discovery.
What is it?
A meteor.
A meteor? Yeah? So you say everyone should come? Tell them again.
Hi again, Daddy.
We roll from the meteor crater to hit Sedona, Arizona. But before we get there, we had to drive through this place. It was a Coco Nino National Forest. We didn't stop there, but we went from the desert to this very arid forest that was like 6,000 feet up in elevation. And it was just crazy to kind of see the scenery change. Because then from there, Sedona was lower in elevation, maybe about 15, 20 miles down. It was just complete different terrain. Now, Sedona is known for having these beautiful red rocks. Some of them you'll see here as I'm probably drifting away from actually showing my face here. So we had a great time with it. It was fun to kind of just see it. Sedona is also like kind of a touristy trap. There's like a lot of really like fun gift shoppy type of places. We didn't really stay there that long though, because it literally hit 100 degrees by then. As Eliana's getting out of the car, she says, being hot, and starts crying. But luckily we found these misters. These misters, I think, were one of the things that kind of saved us from making Sedona not an awful stop. One of the two things. The second one, we ran into the Blue McDonald's. Now, the reasoning behind this, they didn't want the yellow of the golden arches to clash with the red rocks. So in order to have the McDonald's there in Sedona, it's the only McDonald's in the world that has blue arches. And they kind of really hone in on the blue in there. I didn't really take many pictures in there, but it was kind of a cool McDonald's. Probably like the fourth or fifth McDonald's we've gone to on the trip alone. But yeah, from there we just kind of kept going. That was our last actual stop. And then from there it was about 3 hours to Yuma, which was kind of brutal. It was 100 degrees, and as it gets darker, it gets hotter. I saw the car thermostat going up, and I thought, I like the car temperature reading, not the thermostat itself. I thought that there was something wrong with the car. And then we stopped for gas at a station about an hour outside of Yuma, and it's 9 o'clock at night, pitch black outside, and it's 110 degrees. Yeah, it was bad. So from there, straight shot to our hotel room in Yuma. Hotel room was kind of mid, but that is the end of day number 4. I have my camera, so this is day 4 of travel. We are in Yuma. We'll be in San Diego in like 3 hours drive time. It's already 88 degrees here. The high is like 109 or something like that. I don't think it's gonna be that hot in San Diego because it's ocean, but here we go. We made it almost. All right, so let's talk about day number 5. Day 5 was a transitional type of day for us. So we started the day in Yuma, Arizona, and our destination was San Diego. It's only about a 3-hour drive from there, so there really wasn't a lot of drive time. Super hot. I believe the high for that day was around 110 in Yuma, but I don't think we ever saw that on that day. I could be wrong. It's been a minute. So It was only a 3-hour drive, and we had some time to kill because our Airbnb didn't open, like wasn't available until like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So what we did, first we took our time getting out, because previous days we're like up and out by like 7, 8 o'clock. And then we started headed west. We crossed into California, about like right over the California border. We stopped at a Target. We had to grab a few things because we were out of a lot of different supplies. It was kind of a longer break for us, and we kind of had some fun playing games and things like that. So we had a lot of fun at the Target. We went to In-N-Out. I think the only time we went to In-N-Out on our trip. I have thoughts on In-N-Out, but not the time and place for it. But then we headed into Chula Vista, which is like suburb San Diego, and just kind of hung around at a couple places before we headed to our Airbnb. And then once we got there, we were able to see Old Papa. So part 1 is complete. Let's hit up part 2. Well, here we are at the Airbnb. Pretty nice here. It's like literally like 3 blocks away. So it's a lot better. There's our bed. We got the upstairs. Oh, we'll do the mirror shot. Oh, look at that. Alrighty, I'm thinking we should, next time we're here, this is a great place to stay. Look at that setup. And full bathroom. Look at that, a jacuzzi. Oh, and a double sink. Ooh, that's gonna be fun. Oh, all for now. So part 2 starts on day number 6 of our trip. This was our San Diego time. So there was a lot of different things that we did, but it doesn't need as much detail. So part 2 of our trip is probably going to be condensed a little bit as opposed to the other ones where we did all the Route 66 stuff. So our first full day in California, it was the 4th of July. So it was a lot of fun. The kids, now our Airbnb was about like 3 blocks away from Old Papa's house. So our kids actually were able to, we brought their scooters with us because we figured we'd probably need it. They actually scooted all the way there. So I thought that was really cool. On the 4th of July, we had our barbecue because, you know, it's 4th of July, you have a barbecue. So we did that. We also spent a lot of time in the pool. So I have some pool shots here, I think, but it was just really nice to kind of sit and relax. Also, the last couple of days, it was over 110. I mentioned before going up into the mountains, we had to turn off the air. It was so uncomfortable. Luckily, it wasn't for that long. There were definitely times me driving, I was a little nervous as I see the temperature, the oil temperature going up in the car. But car never overheated. Big Vanny's a champ. And it was nice to like have below 80s pretty much the whole time we were there. So day number 6, it's all hanging out at the pool, hanging out with Old Papa, and having a great time there.
What up? It's Pool Review Time with Nate.
And I
So, what do you like? Do you like the pool?
Yes.
What did you like about the pool?
Swimming.
The swimming? What do you like? Any of the features of the pool that you like?
Yes.
What features stand out to you?
Lunch.
I guess it's lunch break. And that's back to the studio.
Day number 7. It was the day before Isaac's birthday. But on Isaac's birthday, we were celebrating Old Papa's birthday. So we bumped up birthdays a day. Isaac celebrated his birthday. It was his 5th birthday. Okay, so how old are you?
5.
And what's happening today?
My
Your party? What kind of party is it?
Pool party.
Pool party? It's your birthday?
Yes.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
He had a blast. We had some cake. We had some presents for him. And basically, it was just like a pool party all day. And we just enjoyed ourselves, had a whole bunch of Mexican food the whole time we were in San Diego. I think we definitely had breakfast burritos at least 2 or 3 times for breakfast, and maybe have gotten them twice throughout the day. We had rolled taco specials. I tried this adobadas burrito, which is like a spicy pork. It was excellent, and it's definitely part of my Mexican food rotation moving forward. But yeah, so day number 7 of our trip, day 2 of part 2, was Isaac's birthday. We have a 5-year-old now, and that's incredibly crazy and awesome at the same time. So yeah, that ends day number 6. Day 7 is the party day. Now, the party was, I believe, at like 2 or 3 or something like that. So pretty much the whole day was dedicated to making the party happen. We didn't do like any of the catering or anything. We had to be there early to set up. And also, Nate and I were both taking pictures. So we got a lot of great pictures. It was really a tremendous party. I don't think I've ever been to a party for someone turning 90 before. And it was just really cool kind of being a part of it. It was nice to help put together the video. As, we asked people from all over to send in a video of your favorite memory, and we put it linked in on YouTube so he can watch it whenever he wants. And it was also just kind of cool seeing people connecting and just having a great time. Decorations were crazy awesome, and it's definitely one of those things, like for me, I'm not a huge big party type of person. Like, hey, I'll have a ton of fun with the people I'm close to, but inviting a whole bunch of people is not my vibe. But it's really cool to see other people really enjoying it. So yeah, we had a great time with that. And also, once we were done with the party, we kind of brought our own after party afterwards, and we had some fun doing all of the pool stuff, hanging out with old Papa for a little bit more. We listened to some more of his stories, which were really cool. And yeah, we celebrated his 90th in style. So I think one more thing I'll add to it. He had mentioned that he really loved his 90th birthday party, and he expects all of us to be there when he turns 100. So we'll make those plans in a little bit here. But that concludes whatever day that is. Day number 3? I don't know. Day 3 of part 2. The next day was our mission service. So it was Sunday. As any good missionary should, we did a mission service at Old Papa's Church. We'd all been there before. We've all done a mission service before. So it was kind of more, it was less of an introduction and more of an update. And I mean, it's a typical mission service. There was nothing that crazy or memorable about it. Old Papa also, it was his actual birthday, so he actually led in prayer for a little bit. And then afterwards, he took us all out to his favorite Italian restaurant, which is not too far from the church, and we enjoyed pizza, and then went back in the pool. I mean, we had a great time at our Airbnb in that way. You'll see the video of me touring the Airbnb. Airbnb was okay. Definitely the Airbnb we stayed in the longest. Not our best Airbnb by far. I'll talk about that one later. But first the couch was kind of weird. It was like really, really low backed, so like you couldn't like lay down in it. So that's kind of annoying. But then also afterwards, they started charging us for random stuff, which is kind of annoying. And yeah, I don't know. It just, the benefit of being that close to Old Papa was nice, but I don't know if we'd do that one again. I think the one we did 2 years ago was probably better, but had a pool, it was close, we had a good time. So our next day would be day 4, 5, I've lost track here, but our next day was our beach day. We're like, well, we're this close to the Pacific Ocean, we gotta get in the water. Lo and behold, we didn't know how close we could get to the water without actually being able to get in the water. So we get to the beach, and apparently there's some kind of sewage leak coming from Tijuana, Mexico, which is like not that far away. And there's like actually like toxic sewage in the water, and they were not allowing people to get in the water. Not so much like a lifeguard telling you like, don't get in the water. There's literal police cars riding on the beach, yelling from their bullhorn, get out of the water, get out of the water, it's toxic. So yeah, that disappointed everyone. But then we drove a little bit further north past like the San Diego Bay to another beach, and we had a good time there. We spent about like an hour, hour and a half. Isaac has been in like ocean water before, but he doesn't remember so much. And he was just shook at how salty it was. And he was able to swim like crazy. We had a good time with it, and it was fun. We definitely did not like not being able to get in the first one, but is what it is. That was our beach day. The next day we were rolling out. We all had breakfast with Old Papa, or at least like coffee with Old Papa, I should say. And then we had McDonald's breakfast as we were starting to head on our next destination. All right, so we're about to head out from our Airbnb, head up to first Vegas to go say hi to Tita and Uncle Tim. And then we're gonna head up to St. George for our next Airbnb. Son, what do you think of this Airbnb?
Good.
Out of a rating out of 10, what would you say?
Bad.
Bad? You just said it was good.
It was good.
Good? What was the best part of it?
I had 2 things.
You had 2 things? Yeah, that's a truck there. Well, did you like the pool?
Yeah.
Did you like your room?
Yeah.
Did you like the bathroom?
Yeah.
I think that means it's a win. All right. We'll see you in Utah. Okay. Okay, baby. All right, so I have a friend with me. What's your name?
Isaac.
All right, so obviously not friend, but son. Part 3 is our national parks phase. So, we left San Diego. We had a great time hanging out with Old Papa, celebrating his birthday, right?
Yes.
What was the best part of the San Diego part?
When I had my birthday,
Your birthday was fun, right? So,
I just got you 2 times
you got me 2 times with what?
with the pool noodle, and you got me like 4 times.
I think that's about right. So we went to, we were on our way. This is our national parks phase. We saw 2 national parks within 2 days. So our first one, we were heading to St. George, Utah to go to Zion National Park. It's roughly like a 5-6 hour drive. But we made a special stop along the way. Son, who did we see?
Uncle Tim and Auntie Tita.
Yeah, so Tim and Tita both live in Las Vegas. And as we were driving, we went right through Vegas. Our route took us right there, about 15, I don't remember which route, or interstate, but so we stopped, we saw them, we had some lunch. It was a great time just to kind of catch up with them. We hadn't seen them since their wedding, so it was cool to just kind of have that moment. And also it's kind of one of those things that you do when you're traveling and you're passing by someone, passing by a friend or relative. You always just want to reach out and say hi. So, next we went to St. George, Utah. Now that Airbnb, I had mentioned before that the Airbnb was probably the best one that we saw because it was a lot of fun. It had a great spot. We had all of the great accommodations. But son, who did you sleep in a room with?
KK and Uncle.
Yeah, so KK and Uncle bunked with the big kids, and Shelby and I had a room, and also Grandma and Pa had a room. So we really loved that Airbnb. We stayed in 3 different ones. It was by far the best one, and yeah. So after we stayed the night in St. George, the next morning we got up super early. Zion Canyon, a recreation.
You're outside.
Oh look, there's Isaac.
No, let me outside.
Hi Isaac.
No, let me outside.
Because also this whole week there was like high heat index alerts. Actually, Tim and Kira told us that it was one of the hottest months to date, month of June, in Vegas in a long time. So it was super hot. So we knew if we wanted to hit Zion National Park, we had to do it early. So we got up 6 o'clock in the morning, rolled out. It took about like 45 minutes to an hour to get out there, but we had a great time. What you doing, bro? Nothing? We're about to catch the bus. Start seeing this place, right? I don't think you're in the shot. Oh. But we're gonna have a good time, right? Zion National Park Utah in general is known for having a lot of really beautiful areas. If you've never been to Utah, I encourage you, check it out. It's amazing.
It's the best.
It was the best. So we didn't do a ton of hiking because it was just too hot. Even that early on, the feels like temperature was getting up into like the 110s. No one else knew it at the time except for myself and Shelby, but Shelby was pregnant during it, so we didn't want to push her too hard. We didn't know that she was pregnant with twins, but that would come later. But we just had a great time. There were some excellent views to see. And so we went over, there's like several stops, like you get on this, you can actually no, you have to take the bus. There's like a trolley that you take up to different stops. And we took 1 or 2 just to kind of check them out. And then we did one hike partially. Isaac and I almost made it all the way there, but he had to go pee, so we rolled out. And it truly was spectacular, just seeing the view, seeing some of like the great stuff. As you'll probably see panning across everything now how awesome it was. So then we went back, we relaxed at the Airbnb. I think also we really enjoyed it because we spent so much time there as opposed to just like a place to sleep. And then the next morning we had to pack up and we rolled out to St. George again, or to Zion National Park. This time we did more driving, there was this tunnel that we went through that was really cool, and we saw all of this really scenic stuff. And really it was cool because the way that the GPS took us, we went a completely different way. All right, so we got back from Zion National Park, whatever it's called. Here's my assessment. I think it's about an 8 out of 10. The scenery, tremendous. Absolutely awesome. There's too many people there. Way too many people there. And it just makes it really hard to do anything because you're so worried about, like, especially when you have kids, like, worried that, like, your group's gonna get separated and all that. And then, like, at all of, like, the really, like, sit-down rest stops, there's just too many people being selfish and just, like, taking up as much space as possible. But the scenery was excellent. Like, absolutely state of the art. I think one thing that we would do differently is do bikes. You can rent e-bikes there because it just seems like it's a better way to see. I love the shuttle system because it does limit the amount of people that you have, and I think that works pretty well. What else is... Oh, last thing. I'm sure Shelby will mention this somewhere in there. That national parks are for everyone. And if your kid only goes halfway and is having a great time in the sand, that's their national park experience. It's not necessarily making sure that they see everything. So definitely like one of those mind-blowing moments for both of us. This old man said it to Shelby, and then she told it to me. But yeah, fun day. Tomorrow, we're eventually gonna hit Williams, Arizona, because that's where our hotel is. I don't know if we're doing that Grand Canyon or Zion tomorrow, but either way, we're gonna see something awesome. So here we go. To our next national park, and as a result, we're just driving around and we see all of these amazing scenic views. It was truly a scenic ride going from Utah back down to Arizona, because the next day, where do we go? You don't know? What was the other big national park we went to?
Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon. So on our third day of part 3, we went to the Grand Canyon. Obviously one of the most well-known national parks. And honestly, these pictures that we will show won't do it justice. It is absolutely amazing. And it's really cool the way that it's set up, because you can drive through part of it, and then there's also bus tours that can take you to part of it. We're here chilling on the bus. You like the bus?
Bye-bye.
So we just did the driving. You can stop and go out and take pictures. There are some parts that have railings, some parts that don't. So if you have little kids, I would suggest staying with just the railings part. Isaac really loved going down and seeing it from the railing, right? You liked it? What was the best part of the Grand Canyon?
Taking the bus.
Taking the bus, yeah. Also, I think we got something at the Grand Canyon, right? Didn't we get ice cream? Was that good ice cream? Yeah. So we really did have a good time. We did as much as we could. We basically saw, because with a lot of these bigger national parks, they're massive, like several miles in area. Like you're talking like you can drive around in it for probably about an hour. And they have specific stops where you can have different scenic overlooks and everything like that. And it works out really nicely, because if you really want to go and try to see every single potential view, you can. But for us, you've seen one, you kind of have seen them all. So we didn't stop at all of them, especially once we were getting going. People were getting tired. Once again, it was still really hot. So we really loved going and doing that. So what was your favorite part of part 3? You like Zion National Park or the Grand Canyon better?
Grand Canyon.
Why?
Because we took the buses.
Because of the buses. Yeah, the buses were cool. The buses on the Grand Canyon were a lot better than the buses at Zion, right? Did you like going through the tunnel? The tunnel was cool. Do you remember what we had for breakfast that morning? For the Grand Canyon? You want to take a guess? Take a guess.
Pancakes.
I think you might have had pancakes, but you got them from a special place. You don't remember? Did you also get a Happy Meal at a place like this too? Maybe?
McDonald's.
McDonald's, yeah, we had a lot of McDonald's there. But we also learned a lesson. Always take the scenic overlook. So this will be the last part that we talk about with part 3 before we start rolling out. Zion National Park to the Grand Canyon. There was this, like I said before, super scenic, super awesome. And we pull off and we see this scenic overlook. We're probably like an hour, hour and a half outside of the Grand Canyon, and we pull off to the scenic overlook, and oh my gosh, it was spectacular. I'm gonna make sure that those pictures are there. We took probably my favorite selfie of the now 6 of us. We didn't know it was 6 at the time, but it was a lot of fun, and we really enjoyed it. So, yeah. You really liked part 3?
Yes.
What about part 4? Well, let's get into part 4. Part number 4. So, part 4, sit back. So, here you go. Part 4. We went from the Grand Canyon, our goal was home. Like part 4, that was our eastward bound trip. So, we went to the Grand Canyon, and from there, our goal that night was Colorado Springs. It was a long drive, and the way that the GPS took us was like probably the most backwards way possible. But once again, a crazy scenic overlook. Moral of the story, anytime you see a scenic outlook, take it. Look at this thing. We're gonna go take a look at this. It's called Wilson Arch. Do you remember on that trip, son?
No.
Scooch back a little bit. No, I haven't even told you yet. Do you remember on that trip, you having to go to the bathroom? Where did you go to the bathroom?
I had a party for like 15 miles.
Yeah, so this took us on like a rando US highway, no rest stops, no gas station for miles. Isaac had to go potty, so we pulled off to the side of this US highway, people going 65 miles an hour past us, and he went to go pee on the side of the road. And then Beanie had to do the same thing. But it was really cool. We got to pass right by we passed by the Arches National Park. We could go in, but we passed right by it. And then we also,
Like, did something?
Do you remember the Wilson Arch? Now you gotta say something.
We had a climbing place, and that'll be it.
We stopped at that random arch on the side of the highway. You guys were like rolling in the sand.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
It was like great. It was like me and Dad said, well, we were gonna walk along, but then I had to go pee. We were just at that point, and then like what was the
Party?
No, the thing that with tea in it.
You went on the side of the highway.
So that wraps up part 4.
Oh, it doesn't? So we did eventually get to Colorado Springs. All right, so we've made it to our hotel in Grand Junction, Colorado. Oh my gosh, what a crazy day. Saw the Grand Canyon, and we drove a lot. But I think one of the biggest rules that we learned today is you always take the detour, or you always take the scenic overlook, because we saw an amazing thing earlier as well. So Grand Canyon, I don't know, I'll probably give a review later, but it was spectacular. And yeah, now we're on our way back, Cleveland bound. We've hit our 12th different state now on the trip. The rest of the states will be repeats, but it'll still be fun to kind of go a different route. Tomorrow, what do we have? Oh, we're gonna stop in Denver for a hot second and then just try to get as far east as possible. So, great day, tired day. Here we are in Colorado. We were very grateful because there was one day one It said that the next rest stop was 90 miles away. So we gassed up, we got our food, and then we kept going. At that point, we were in Utah. We passed into Colorado. Colorado was a really beautiful state to drive through. But we stayed that night in Colorado Springs. Well, another thing, the scenic route was great, but what made it really hard is there was like nowhere to stop. So we drove basically for like 5.5 straight hours. We pulled over twice because the kids had to pee. It was wild, but definitely worth the drive and would do it again. So now that I actually have everything that I need, it's time for rest. That was a nice hotel room, right? Do you remember that? Okay. So that wraps up at least the travel to start part 4. All right, so let's get ourselves home. So part 4, our trip home, we didn't have a ton of stops, but on this first day, we started in Grand Junction, Colorado, and our goal was somewhere in Kansas. We wanted to try to get as east into Kansas as we could. We made a couple stops along the way that we were looking at, but man, a lot of driving, a lot of boring driving. Kansas is such a boring state, especially when you're driving from west to east and it takes you 5 hours. But anyway, let's look at what we did in Colorado, because there were 2 stops that we made. First, we had seen this place online. It's this viral croissant place. They sell like these crazy looking croissants with all of these different fillings, and it's like one of this has gone viral on TikTok type of places, and we wanted to check it out. And it was kind of a meh experience. Now, don't get me wrong, the croissants were excellent. Probably like one of the best croissants that Shelby and I ever had. And also it was really, really disappointing because we got there super late. We were within the last hour of them closing. So basically everything that was really, really good and like all the stuff that people love and go viral for, it was all sold out. So we had said, I don't know if we'll go again. I don't know, the next time we'll be in Denver, but I will say, as much as Kansas was boring, Denver was a fun drive for me. At one point, we were at about 11,000 feet in elevation. Big Vanny chugging along. And we actually got to a point where, no, this is July, where we saw snow kind of a little bit further up. So it was really cool to just kind of be up in the mountains like that. The Rocky Mountains are beautiful. For a little bit too, our route was kind of weaving in and out through the Colorado River. So we kind of saw some people kayaking and everything like that. It was really cool. So in Denver, we had that viral stop. But then also, as we were planning this trip, I'm like, man, I really want to see a baseball stadium. Because, I mean, we're driving across America, and I'd love to check another one off the list of baseball parks that I've at least visited. Not necessarily for a game, but to go in, buy a t-shirt and all. So we cut right through Denver. Obviously there, home of the Colorado Rockies, we hit Coors Field. So at first it was just gonna be Isaac and I'd buy like matching shirts, but then Eliana wanted to come in. So the 3 of us went in, and I came out with a shirt and they came out with baseball bats, which did not last in the car because they were 5 and 2. So, but we had fun. It was really cool to kind of take that picture and cross another ballpark off the list. Obviously didn't go to a game, but at least we were able to be there and say that we were there. So yeah, the next day, from somewhere in Kansas, I'll probably put in where, to, originally it was Indianapolis, but we ended up in Effingham, Illinois. Originally our goal was Indianapolis, but once again, we just got there too late. I'll get to that later. One of the bigger points of emphasis we wanted to hit on our way back, and the reason why we took the route that we did, was it cut right through Kansas City. Kansas City is home to the Negro League Museum. as the Kansas City Monarchs are probably the most prominent Negro League, and actually I believe it was the first Negro League team out there. So we spent some time going through the museum. They have a short video by James Earl Jones, rest in peace. And they have like, it's your standard museum. It was really cool to see. I really loved being there, and it's definitely, I didn't take a deep dive, but you could definitely take a deep dive. Also next door, I think it was like a jazz museum or something, but we have, in my head, I have a future trip planned with my dad, go see a Royals game and go there. That was the other thing. 70 also, which was the route that we took, cuts right through Kansas City. The Kansas City Royals, Kauffman Stadium was there. My intention was to stop there, but of course on the way there, it was a Sunday and the team shop is closed on Sunday. They weren't having a game going on, so I couldn't go. But that's all right. I at least passed by the stadium. It's a good stadium. Definitely should go at some point, and I plan on going. So from there, we left the Negro League Museum, probably spent maybe an hour there, and then started heading east again. And originally, our goal was to have dinner at the Spaghetti Factory in Indianapolis. We realized it was going to take us too long to get there. So we pivoted, and there's a spaghetti factory in St. Louis that we stopped at. Basically, our drive was driving through Missouri to get to the spaghetti factory, and I don't know what it was, but that was probably the best meal that we had on our trip, at least on the road. Probably also there and back, if I might add. I don't know, like we just really liked it. I think also it was our last meal, like our last dinner on the road. So we were really excited about just kind of making it a little bit more special. And then, yeah, we stayed the night at Effingham. All right, last night we have made it to Effingham, Illinois. It's been quite the journey. So we started the day at definitely our worst hotel to date. It was in Hays, Kansas. And oh my gosh, Kansas is such a long state. We had a lot of fun to start. We did some worship music because it is Sunday. Beanie singing out worship songs was a lot of fun. And then we went to the Negro League Museum, which was really fun. We only scratched the surface because the kids just like blitzed right through it. So it gives me more of an incentive to go with my dad to kind of see it properly. We were going to go to Kauffman Stadium, but the team shop is closed on Sundays, so we couldn't make that happen. And it was a good thing too. We all slept in yesterday, or this morning, so that made it harder. But then after that, we hit the Spaghetti Factory. The Spaghetti Factory was awesome. So here we are in Effingham, Illinois, about 6.5 hours away from Cleveland. So definitely be home tomorrow. And this hotel is by far the best hotel we've been in. So there we go. Good night. We found like the highest rated hotel in that area and made sure that it was the best night of sleep that we had, and it probably was. We kind of still contend that was the best hotel that we stayed at throughout this entire trip. Probably stayed at about 5 or 6 hotels on the trip. That was probably the best one. So from there, Effingham, all the way home. All right, guys, we are here in Effingham, ready to travel on our last day. Beanie, what's the first thing you're gonna do when you get home?
See that?
See that? Okay. Aye, what are you gonna do the first thing you get home?
I pet my doggy.
What's the first thing you're gonna do when you get home, babe? Unload the car. You're gonna go poo-poo? Gross. I don't know what I'm gonna do first. I think lay on my bed. It's been a nice journey, but it'll be exciting to go home. We stopped a few places to eat, get out, stretch our legs, go to the bathroom. But it was probably around 3 or 4 p.m. on that Monday that we're pulling up to our house. Finally home. Guys, we're home! Baby, we're home! Yeah. Let's get out of here, guys. So that kind of wraps up our epic American road trip. We really had a great time doing this. I can't say enough about the different experiences that I saw. If I were to rank each of these national parks that we went to, I'd probably say Petrified National Forest 1, Grand Canyon 2, Zion National Park 3. If I was to rate them all 8 out of 10, they'd easily be 8 or higher on all of them. Would I do this again? Absolutely. Maybe not within the next 2 or 3 years because I'm gonna have twin boys or girls, but I would definitely do this again. I would try, I think a couple things that I would do a little bit differently. Have a destination in mind, but don't book a hotel room in advance because you never know what's gonna happen. And there was a couple times where we could have really taken our time and we didn't because we had to make our hotel room that we already booked. So I think that would be one of the biggest things that I would say is don't book hotel rooms ahead of time. Have an idea of where you want to go. And then as the day progresses, once you get closer, book your hotel room. Also, be willing to spend an extra few dollars on a hotel room. Sometimes the cheapest hotel room isn't worth it. It really isn't. Especially when you're on the road for that long because you're trying to rest up and then you don't get a good night's sleep. So then it just cycles worse. And also, don't be disappointed if you don't do everything. There's a few things that we really were looking forward to, but we just didn't get to. And it is what it is. Everything's fine. It just gives you incentive to go back again. So thank you for watching. It's taken me several months to get this done, but I am excited that it is almost done. As soon as I finish editing it, I feel very accomplished in getting this out. So thank you. Love you all, and goodbye. Sing it.